I would like to just inform you about the host for this event, which is Draper Startup House Jamaica. They are the organizers for this wonderful event, and it's talk today bringing these experts together. And for those who don't know what Draper Startup House is, it's a hub, a startup hub that we're launching in Jamaica. The idea came actually out of Singapore, with that focus on the idea of a tribe theory. So tribe theory, essentially, long and short of it is, if you can get entrepreneurs to come together in a space where there's community support and access to resources, then there will be more productivity and more innovation in that space because they get that support. So the idea started out, we have Draper Startup Houses all over the world that support entrepreneurs, especially digital nomads, that want to travel the world or live other places, and they offer accommodation and support. We're co-working spaces to these entrepreneurs. In Jamaica, we're doing something a little bit slightly different. In addition to that service, we're creating a startup hub where all entrepreneurs within this ecosystem can come together in one place and get access to all the resources that exist in the Jamaican ecosystem. So that means access to all incubators, accelerators, all education programs, access to investments locally and internationally, and every resource, grants and support, resources that you can get that normally we don't hear about because there's no centralized system. So that's what Draper House is going to do for us. We're happy to be a part of this forum and that we can bring this event to you. And we'd also like to thank our main sponsor, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, UCC, for giving us such a wonderful space and also to host us this morning. And as you know, UCC is it's a business college in the middle of Kingston where you can do courses face-to-face and online and all over the world. And they have nice and innovative things going for them too. So you can have access to traditional programs as well as occupational programs. And I want to say something about the occupational program because these are programs that are geared to preparing Jamaicans for the future. This is for the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Things like renewable energy, more educated persons in the upper level persons for Jamaicans in the BPO sector, construction site management, and logistics technology. We don't have a lot of good logistics technicians in Jamaica. So these are courses that are really in demand. There's really a shortage in the industry in general and in the Caribbean even. And so these students can graduate from these programs and go straight into a good job that they studied and get a good salary. So I want to say something. So you can check out those programs at ucca.edu.jm. And for the regular business courses and entrepreneurship and other business programs that we offer, UCC and law, that's ucc.edu.jm. Okay, so thank you very much. And without further ado, I would like to go into introducing the panelists. So this morning, we would like to welcome our panelists. We have Paco Dula India, and Paco actually started his journey by reading a book on Bitcoin called The Bitcoin Standard. And he started the Bitcoin run, I believe was last year. And he has gone to a number of countries, 30 countries. Jamaica is his stop today and this week, and he's going on into 3 other Caribbean countries after this. So he has traveled to several countries in the third world using only Bitcoin. So he's going to tell us about his journey, the difficulties, the challenges, how the countries adopted Bitcoin, and the meetup that he has led, and he's going to tell his story to us. So we're excited that that's the reason why we're here. And also, he's a part of the Draper startup community, so welcome. We also have David Clark. David, just wave. David Clark is a strategist behind e-commerce. He's a digital token marketplace that has been in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space for over 6 years. David is CEO for the last 3 years and has a vision and passion for technology to aid in unleashing the financial energy that is locked in this economy. So he is an evangelist for cryptocurrency, and he currently runs a business that uses cryptocurrency. So we're going to hear from David as well and his perspective on using cryptocurrency in Jamaica. We also have Dennise. Dennise is a award-winning financial services professional, and she's a former host of the television show Financially Focused. And she now has a YouTube channel with the same name that offers investing and debt management advice. So Dennise has worked in the industry for over 20 years as an investor, a behavior researcher, in corporate communications, media relations, marketing, financial planning, product sales, and the list goes on. Since 2003, she has served on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the market research community, and since 2018, she's on the board of the JSC Stock Exchange. And since 2011, Dennise has served on the board of Jamaica Down Syndrome Foundation. All right. So she started in 2014 by serving private clients to build financial plans and to grow their network by 1% per month through organizing their money through her Financially Focused media website. So welcome, Dennise. It's a pleasure having you. And also our final panelist is Christopher Howe. And he is young and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. He's passionate about technology and he is also an evangelist for cryptocurrency. So he is interested in making an impact and seeing how technology can serve Jamaicans and driving the adoption to use technology more effectively in Jamaica. He's also a graduate of the University of the West Indies, and he is also in the cryptocurrency space, using cryptocurrency in his business. So welcome, panelists, again. Thank you for coming, and we look forward to hearing your point of view on this topic. So without further ado, we welcome Paco to just tell us his experience using Bitcoin on his Bitcoin run. Paco, welcome.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hi. Can you hear me? This is good, yeah? Hi, good morning, everybody. You all right? Yeah. I love Jamaica. I'm really happy that I'm here because I love brand Lara. And then I started running, and then Usain Bolt is from here. And then he put $2 billion in an investment company in Jamaica. And the $2 billion became $1.8 million. And I was like, I need to meet Usain Bolt, but I couldn't meet him. I wanted to talk to him about Bitcoin, but I couldn't talk to him about Bitcoin. I went to the Bob Marley house. And one of the great things he used to do was play football. We all talk about his music, but he played football. Let me put on the timer before I get on with this. Clock and start. All right. And so I just saw like Jamaicans are very smart people. Jamaicans have a lot of attitude. It's never your fault. It's the other person's fault because you can't be wrong. You can't be wrong. Jamaica is like, it reminds me of Nigeria. Nigeria is 250 million people. That's why they are so bold. But Jamaicans are 3 million. And you guys are like the lions of the Caribbean. I haven't seen the other Caribbean islands, but I'm coming from Cuba. So definitely you guys are really bold. I'm here to talk about Bitcoin. I really would like to thank to Draper Startup House. My connection has been really strong with them since Singapore, Bangalore, Philippines, Zambia, Malawi, South Africa, and now I'm here. We'll be going down to Trinidad and Tobago. So my name is Paco. I'm from India, and I read the book, The Bitcoin Standard, which talks about the history of money. So we're just going to go down the history of money. All right. So it's going to be little questions and answers with you all. Let's go back like 5,000 years ago. How did we humans trade? Question to everyone. Yeah. Perfect. Cow for a sheep, sheep for rice, rice for ugali, ugali for chips, chips for potato, potato for oil. Yeah, life was good. Slowly and gradually, we moved over into something called as seashells. The seashells were really worthy in the beach. From the beach, they should take it in the mountain because in the mountain there were no seashells. Yeah. Then came rocks, copper, silver, gold. Yeah. How many of you have gold? I have gold. Even 1 gram of gold is of gold. Yeah. So you have some gold, right? Why do you have gold? Sort of value. You wanted to save some money rather than getting devalued. So we had this history. We moved on into copper, silver, gold in 1920 or in 1820 or in 1720. Let's go back to the time in 1400s when Christopher Columbus came. Yeah. He came with his Portuguese coins. Then we had the Spanish coins in the 1500. In the 1600, we had the Dutch coins. In 1700, we had the French coins. In 1800, we had the British, our friends, British coins. And in 1900s, what are we using? Paper bill, piece of paper. If you go back in time, Dutch gold coin, a Caribbean gold coin, or an Afghanistan gold coin, all of these coins were gold coin. Gold was gold, silver was silver, bronze was bronze. Everybody had equal value. The reason why it was valuable was because it was difficult to find such product. You cannot put your hand, let's say, Ingrid is here. Ingrid says, hey, Paco, I got a dream. There is gold below UCC. You're like, great, Ingrid, nice dream. Can I put my hand and get the gold? I have to do some work. I have to get some machinery, people involved to get the gold out. Yeah. Now tell me what work is going in printing this. This is being printed at a print button. But if you make a copy of this in your house, you are behind the jail. And the jail in Jamaica is no good. Somebody tell me. They send you for 12 years plus 5 years. If it's your first felony, nobody wants to go to jail. But the people printing the money have power. They have guns. And you have family. So you're very worried. You're like, hey, I need to save my family, you know. I do what the government say. Anyways, I go further. Oh, shit. Anyway, so the point was, if you look at the gold, was gold, right? In 1923, our lovely friends, United States of America, came up with the Federal Reserve and they started printing dollars. They say, hey, if you give me gold, we keep dollars. It was very simple. Like the same way Jamaicans started. When Jamaica got independence in 1962, $1 was $1. Yeah. What was the thing? Jamaica keeps 500 kg gold and print 500 kg gold of money. India keeps gold, India prints money. Everybody keeps gold as a collateral security. Okay. Everybody keeps gold to print money. Life is good, right? You keep gold and you have money. That means your paper is backed by gold. We are good. We move forward. 1920s, the World War I happened. 1933, the Great Depression happened. What is the Great Depression? The Great Depression was when United States of America had printed away a lot of money. We move forward into 1940, Second World War happened. For having this World War, to win the World War, you need people with salary. You need guns. And all of this cannot be bought with all the gold they had. So they kept printing money and printing money and printing money. Until comes 1971, when Richard Nixon put out the law that, hey, we do not need gold now. Our country is very strong. So we're just going to use dollars. And that's the day when your US dollar was backed by a Jamaican dollar, or Jamaican dollar was backed by US dollar. That means all your paper money is backed by US dollar. There is no more gold involved. There is no more work involved. It is only the rich people keep getting rich. The banks give money to the rich people. Do they give money to the poor people? Expensively at 20%, 40%, 60%. That's the same thing in Africa and Zambia too. They are called sharks. They are here to take your life. Anyways, in 1971, when they abolished it, that means there was just dollars. That was just paper money. Now, paper money is being printed in USA. Over the last 2 years, during COVID, they have printed trillions of dollars. How much? Trillions. But you can't do anything. You can't do anything at all because you are here in Jamaica in an island. So if USA is just printing money and money and money and money and money, what happens to your money? It keeps getting devalued and devalued and devalued and devalued. How many of you go to church? How many of you are honest? How many of you are hardworking? How many of you are saving? Then why is your money not growing? There you go. And the inflation comes because of? There you go. More dollars. You cannot stop them. You cannot question them. United States of America has 85 military bases around the world. Okay. There's a very nice saying I learned from the book, and it says, I recommend it's available freely. It's called the Bitcoin Standard. Please read it. It says, back in those days, in the golden era, everything, electricity, car, aeroplane, printing press, was made in the golden era. And all this did not happen in 1 day or 2 days or 5 days or 10 days. Everybody wants to be rich quickly. Yeah. It all took time. Yeah. If you look at it, Michelangelo, a great artist, he was on a ceiling for 4 years painting that mural for 4 years. Yeah. And now you have Miley Cyrus shaking her ass for $100,000. That is work. Now work has no value. Before that, work had value. Aeroplane wasn't made in a day because people were working towards it. Your father gave you pocket money because you listened to your father. You give money to the church because you listen to the father of the church. You get it? You get a salary because you go to work. But now in this grand scheme, the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. That's why Bitcoin is a solution. Please do not trust me. But Bitcoin is a solution to all of this. Bitcoin came to solve a big problem of called double spending. And I'm going to make it very simple for you all. What is double spending? So you can understand what is happening with our world money. Right now, somebody just told me that the Russians are back into this country. And Russians are like, give me your gold. I'll give you money. Please don't do that. Please don't sell your gold. India has so much gold that we can bail out the whole world. Every family has gold. Gold, we worship gold. Yeah. Gold is very valuable because you cannot create it out of thin air. You cannot just find gold. That is the importance of gold. But well, Bitcoin came to solve the biggest problem that we have is double spending. Now, what is double spending? In a simple example, we came here, I bought a bottle of water. I used my card, but the message didn't go through. The lady is like, hey, I did not receive. Pay me cash. I remove the money. I give cash. I go back. I get a message. Money deducted. I spend the money 2 times. Yeah. But I got only 1 bottle of water. But on a bigger level, what's happening with this? How many banks are here? Which is the best one? Which is the biggest one? Yeah. Huh? NCB? All right. So let's say you are the owner of NCB Bank and you have $10 million deposit in your bank. What's the second biggest bank? Let's say Himo is Scotia Bank CEO and he has $100 million deposit. Okay. What's the third bank? Yeah. And what's the Central Bank of Jamaica? There's a separate one, right? The National Bank and the Central Bank is the same? All right. So who wants to be National Bank of Jamaica CEO? Any hands up? All right. There you go. You have $1 billion deposit. All right. So she has $10 million in a bank. He has $100 million in his bank, and you have $1 billion. Now, banks have a business of giving loan. Yeah. If you have $10 million, how much loan will you give out of the $10 million? 8 million. Okay. You have 100 million. How much will you give out? Huh? 80. You have 1 billion. How much will you give out? My dear friends, this is a lie. A bank can give out 9 times the amount. 9 times. So now you can give out 90 million. Now you can give out 900 million. And you can give out 9 billion. You know why? Because it's all on one single computer. All they are doing is click and pass. Now, when the banks have given so much money as loan, you had the money? No, but you gave it as loan to the rich people. Now there comes a time when the rich people don't pay back the loan. Now customers come back to you like, hey, give me my money, give me my money. You go running back to 2 places. One is the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Please give me money. I want a loan. Second is your own bank, the National Bank, the Central Bank of Japan, the See, I got J and J there. Central Bank of Jamaica is printing money because now you need money. This is what happened in 2008. This is what they did. That's why they said the bank is on the verge of bailout. Now, again, you banks have gotten money. Will you give it to the poor people? You will again give back the money to the rich people. So the rich keep getting richer in the process. And this is called double spending. You did not have money with you and you were spending it. And this is what is happening and you cannot stop it. This is what is happening in my country. This is what is happening in all the countries around the world. This is why your country's value got devalued 155 times. From $1 to 1 Jamaican dollar, 1:1. Now you're at 155. What will you sell to your children? I remember I was in Nigeria. I gave some money to my host and she says, I'm going to give this to my daughter, Oluchi. She saves money in a piggy bank. And she's like, when she saves money in the piggy bank, after 1 year, when it is Christmas, the daughter buys the mother a gift and the mother buys the daughter a gift. But after 1 year, there is so much inflation that money is not enough. That the kids cannot dream. There is no more dreams left because you don't have money. It was never about the money. And here we are just talking about the money. When your biggest, I don't get the name, I should have carried the newspaper today, I forgot in a hurry. When your biggest investment company destroyed $2 billion, but $2 billion were taken away from one of your greatest, from one of your biggest person, $2 billion. And that person loves Jamaica so much that in 7 months, he has not spoken to anyone about it. He did not press any criminal charges because he loves Jamaica. That's the love for Jamaica. But imagine what is happening to a common man who has just 50,000 Jamaican dollars as saving, 100,000 Jamaican dollars. You all remember buying the patty, right? The patty you buy? The patty used to be 150. Now it is 300. Things are just going out of hand. This is what money is trying. This is the problem of the money. It's all revolving around money and everybody just wants money. Bitcoin is just a hedge against inflation. Please don't trust me. I repeat this again. Do your own research. Bitcoin is not controlled by anyone. If tomorrow the Central Bank of Jamaica launches their own currency, please be careful because they will track every money you spend. Every money Imagine it is like your father watching you drinking beer. Your father knows how much red stripe you were drinking. Your father knows how much petrol you're spending. And with petrol, you're doing carbon emissions. They're going to keep track of you. So please be careful of this. And with Bitcoin, you have a chance at the future because for once you can send money to people around the world without anyone's permission. Everybody is moving digital. This country is digital now. I have been able to see how people are on their phones. I was today walking from my hostel to here, and the person who was selling newspapers was on his phone. This is how digital this country is. And Bitcoin is a hedge. Please have this. I repeat this against because Bitcoin, when it started in 2008, 2009, it was $0. And today, one Bitcoin is worth $27,000. You don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can buy a portion of Bitcoin, but you will have your own custody. No bank, no neighbor. You can't trust anyone. If you start trusting, you know what happens, right? They keep taking advantage of you until you are destroyed. I have used Bitcoin in various countries. I will give you an example from Congo. I had $100 bill. I wanted to change it to the Congo francs. And they say, sorry, we will not accept this. I asked them why. They say, because your dollar is printed in 2009. I mean, if you have money, please check at your money that you have in your pocket. Every money is printed every year. 2020, 2021, 2019, 2018, 2010. Yeah. So your money has expiry value. It gets expired. Look at this. Look at the money that you have. Look at why your parents could have more kids. And how many kids do you have nowadays? Tell me, how many kids do you make? Huh? Come on. How many have zero? How many have one? There we go. The most educated, the most smartest people in this country are unable to make children. It's a nature's law we have lost. Why our parents and grandparents had 5 children, 6 children, 7 children? Because the money was strong. I'm not here to talk about any other blockchain. I'm not here to talk anything about any other cryptocurrency because I do not know about them. Everybody comes with the goodness. By saying the goodness, we have Jehovah's Witness, we have Seventh-day Adventists, we have Catholics, and we have another 400 different types of churches. Which one is good? But everybody is right? Because everybody has a heart. But this thing is the reason we don't even make babies now. All because of a piece of paper. Yeah, if you can see what the power of Bitcoin is, you'll be so surprised. Like nobody can take it from you. Yes, in Jamaica, one of the greatest things here is you value your land. Land is very scarce. But tomorrow, if the government comes knocking on your door, what do you do? And things are happening in such a way. Well, I'm going to stop on this. There are a lot of things happening on Bitcoin. I would be happy to share. There are Bitcoin books for kids. There are Bitcoin games for kids happening. Bitcoin is uniting everybody from different parts of the world. Yeah. And you will be happy to see that you can transfer value. So as an entrepreneur, if you are accepting Bitcoin, that means you're opening your hands open to everyone. That is not controlled by anyone. You're opening yourself to the digital world. If you look at your phone, you stay 8 to 10 hours every day on your phone. 8 to 10 hours, that is a work day. 8 hours of your life, you're busy watching TikTok. You're busy watching a car you want to buy. You're busy watching a girl. All you want to do is spend money. How about making some money? How about saving some money? But you can't save anymore because every time things get expensive and expensive, and all you're is doing is working, working, working. There's a nice saying, if hard work was the success, the key to success, then donkey will be the king of the jungle. But donkey is not the king of the jungle. It's the lion. The lion has over 20 times sex every day. All right. Be the lion. Jamaica has the attitude. Like you guys have it. You guys know what you are. Please do your research. I would be happy to share. There's a company called Bitrefill. I use them a lot. I use them to recharge my Digicel here, paying with Bitcoin. I would be giving away $5 of free vouchers. They supported my journey. So after the talks are over, you can receive that $5 and you can use that $5 to recharge your Digicel and to see how money moves nowadays. If we are working digitally, we should be able to receive money digitally. Or last thing, Mark Twain has also said this: if you follow news, you are uninformed. Sorry, if you don't follow news, you're uninformed. But if you follow news, you're misinformed. There's a lot of misinformation. Please do your research. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Paco. That was informative, right, guys? Yes, it was. So we're going to move on to the discussion. But first, I had forgotten to talk about our other sponsors. So I would like to thank this morning, in addition to UCC, First Cloud Consultants, Mohan Venture Capital, Alt Catalyst, Founder Institute Jamaica, Info Machines, and Hack Central Money for bringing this event to us this morning. When we finish our discussion, we have another announcement for a competition. So stay tuned for that. Don't go away. Okay, now I'll hand over to the panelists. So the question for us this morning: as professionals in the space, how do you use Bitcoin, and how do you think, Jamaicans could benefit using Bitcoin the way that you do, or cryptocurrency in general, the way that you do? So we'll open the floor to anyone who wants to start.
Thank you. All right. So our stance at Harmony is about creating the adoption for the use case. And what we have figured out is that the technology by itself is useless. So we have to get down to the people that we want to use the technology and build that use case for them. So that's why our approach to the technology, the cryptocurrency, all the different methods that people currently use to drive their business, accept forms of payment, we decided that we would be that facilitator of these currencies or platforms, so to speak. So that's how we believe that we can build the adoption for this digital space.
Oh, well, I wanted to actually dial back and look at how, in terms of adoption of the digital platforms in our economy and our society. And I think we need to, one of the things that's not being addressed is how we have a low level of trust. We have a very, very low level of digital trust. And I believe I've engaged with some 7th graders, and a lot of them struggle with 3 areas of mathematics that I believe fuel the lack of trust in adults. So I'll just beg you a minute to go through that. So for grade 7 students, a lot of them struggle with the multiplication table. And when, I'm clearly the oldest person on this panel, but in my day, you had to know the multiplication table, rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire. A lot of these kids, when you drill them on the multiplication table, they have to stop and think, maybe use their fingers to come to the conclusion of whatever is, 7 times 7. And in fact, I heard a group of grade 7 students say that 5 times 5 is 10. 7 times 3 is 10. Right? Yes, Ingrid, yes. Okay. The second struggle is addition and subtraction of decimals. Now, we're not talking about trading in this panel. However, for you to be able to track the movement of Bitcoin or any digital currency, decimal points matter. And if you struggle with the addition and subtraction of decimal points, whether you're doing forex trading or Bitcoin, stable coin, whatever, you can have a big problem. And then third is percentages. So the area I'm more familiar with is forex and not necessarily Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but in risk management, when you are dealing with financial planning, you have to engage the client and understand what percent of your money that you can sleep at night if you lose. And in forex is usually don't trade more than 2%. In investing, do not put more than 10% of your whatever savings you have in a particular stock. These are really basic concepts for maybe us in this age group, 2%, 10%, not rocket science. But again, if we dial back to a lot of struggles that persons at grade 7 are having in terms of just off the top of their head, what is 2% of whatever you have? What is 10% of whatever you have? Then imagine how many adults have slipped through the cracks with these 3 basic mathematical models that they don't get. They don't get rapid fire multiplication table. They don't get addition and subtraction of decimal points, and they don't get percentages and how you use percentages to protect your money. And imagine you've gone through and now you're 30, 40, 50, and you don't really understand these 3 basics, so that when somebody comes and says to you, shift to the digital platform, which you don't trust already, you're being asked to do too much. You're being asked to make too many logical leaps in your mind at one time. And so the quick and fast answer is a scam. Somebody's trying to rob me. You're not going to say 10 years ago, I skipped through grade 7 math. You're not going to tell the truth. As Betty said, Ingrid is running a scam. UCC is running a scam. Harmony is running a scam. You're not going to say, I don't understand decimal points. You're not going to say it. And so I say all of that to say that in our culture, and we're also very individualistic as well, right? So partnership. So we're individualistic, we have low trust, and our mathematical skills are, right? Okay. So in that context, pulling us as a nation up the digital curve, there's a lot of work to do. And I want to appeal to the powers that be to take us back to basic mathematics in order to build the trust and build the confidence. So that's my contribution.
So I definitely do appreciate that. That's actually a mind-opening perspective to consider. Because you're right, it would be very easy for a lot of us as adults to really take those concepts for granted. And I don't want to touch on a little bit of what the harmonists would actually do, which is along those hand-holding kinds of services that you would provide to people who would want to get into the spaces. So I think especially because we would be in a position in terms of people who better understand the technology to, take an extra step to take the time and walk people through. In general, back to the question at hand, how cryptocurrency can be used or applied to any of the businesses that you do have or operate in Jamaica. I believe that in terms of putting yourself out there to operate in the global space as a business, and not just confining yourself to Jamaica only. It does grant you the capability of stepping out and being seen as a more competitive brand. Um, and it can be approaching the discussion from a perspective of risk. I know that Paco is a Bitcoin evangelist, but I know a lot of people sometimes, again, because they're new to the space, don't jump to something like Bitcoin because of how violently it tends to move. Um, you do need a more solid understanding in the back of your mind to be able to want to transact as freely in Bitcoin. So one of the coins, the hundreds of thousands of coins, crypto coins that my company likes to transact with are called stablecoin, which is primarily USDC and USDT. And because they're like the name suggests, stable and not very violently fluctuating in price, they make for a easier payment method. And yeah.
That's a really nice point you have put across. Like kids don't know how to use maths, and you're telling them to trust. And the government will make them use it. The government will force, like it's happening in Cuba. There is MLC, their own digital currency. So when you send $1 to Cuba, you get 1 MLC. You send €1, you get 1.05 MLC. So they're using it. And this is what they'll do it in Jamaica. But in Jamaica, it's a cash economy. Cash economy is really strong. Like I was talking to somebody and they said like almost 700,000 people use digital ways of payment. With Bitcoin, one thing they would have fun is when their loved ones are sending money from abroad to here. So they would be able to use this to see how easy it is. But yet again, if you do not know maths, then you will not trust because nobody wants to, and it's Jamaica with attitude, it's never their fault. It's the fault of the other person. But since everything is moving digitally, slowly and gradually, it will be what I say is we are 25 years early. This room is living in the future. We are 25 years early for this entire process to happen when people understand and start trusting and start moving forward for the 20-25 years. Yeah, generally, obviously, this doesn't happen. An avocado tree doesn't grow like this. It takes 7 years and then it gives you those fruits. And this is not going to happen because first people want to satisfy their immediate needs. It's the time preference game right now. First, if I can have my car, my house, my family, my kids, and my red stripe, I want this. When I am able to do this, and then I'll go for the next level. And in this only, you're just caught up in inflation and inflation and inflation. And then it's gone. Only very few people get lucky. It's like the turtles can 100 turtles are born. But of the 100 turtles, only 2 or 3 live. 97 die. This is the world. So yeah, this is what I see.
And it's very interesting about the generation that you're talking about take time to change. And I remember like when we were growing up with our grandparents, and our parents, I remember even the parents would tell us, okay, so like the age that we're in now, work hard, go to school, learn your maths, your English, pass your CXCs, get a job, go to university and all of that. And that's going to ensure that you can get a car, get a house, and manage, plan for your family and support your family and investments, maybe perhaps in the future. That's in Jamaican context, right? But now we're teaching our kids something else because like my generation having kids now, they wouldn't be teaching our kids, learn, go to school, go to university, get a job. What we're saying now is learn, go to school, find an innovative idea, learn the money game, and try to make money. And we see Gen X doing exactly that, going into the space and trying to just earn money. And we're not even thinking about trying to get a job, build a career. It's talk about what's the easiest way to just make money, right? I don't know if anybody wants to add to that.
Yeah, I wanted to add. I'll add to that. One of the challenges you see in the financial advisory space is the what answers speed is debt. So I need to make some money quickly. I need to invest in a business quickly. So what I do is I borrow. Okay. And so what we have is debt answers questions quickly. But when I refer to logical leaps, there isn't a lot of understanding that comes with the decision to borrow, with the decision to start a business. So there's a lot of information or decisions that you have to make in between getting the loan or trying to make the money quickly, that there is not a supportive environment. So people believe that bankers are financial advisors and coaches. They're not. They sell money. Their job is to sell money at a particular rate of return, because you have to pay for the light, you have to pay for the building, you have to pay for the security guard. And so persons go in, and then there's a lot of emotions because they don't get the support that they want. Now, I know entrepreneurship has been the push for the last maybe 15 years because there's a recognition that there are more jobs created. Now we have entrepreneurship, artificial intelligence, digital currency. And we have these three big concepts floating around. And the question is, how do we tie all of this together to help people to make the leap? So in using Bitcoin, you would have had to understand and been talking about Bitcoin 10 years ago. We're now saying, Jamaica has a stable currency. The US, a stable coin. We have our Jamdex. We have a platform called Lynx that's allowing you to use the Jamdex. Other countries have stable coins. There's Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. However, again, breaking all of that down into concepts that, and for me, I'm very sensitive about that because one of my children has Down syndrome, which is an intellectual disability. And if you can't explain something to him, that means you don't really understand it, because you have to explain it as you would to a 4-year-old for him to go, oh, right? And if any concept that you can't get him to say, oh, because he understands money, he understands buying, he understands, giving him money to buy ice cream or whatever. So he understands the transaction. So, so it's not a concept persons with intellectual disability cannot but he can't do math, but he knows what money is for. So a lot of us are very well educated, whether in the technology space, the fintech space, the financial space. A lot of us have that, and yet we can't explain what we do and what we understand to somebody at a 5th grade reading level or a 3rd grade reading level. We can't do it, and therefore that also creates a lack of trust. So I just really want to say that at the same time we're promoting technology and we're pushing, and I will say for the record, I don't agree with most of what you said up there. Okay, but what I do agree with you is that in 1971, when the US came off the gold standard, it meant that inflation became all powerful. So I agree with that. And I agree that persons are on like a hamster wheel in which you're working and you have a salary and the salary is not enough because the cost of things are going up and up and up. And there is a solution. And I don't disagree with Bitcoin as one of the solutions. However, as I said, public outreach and understanding, because even take the US, the digital divide is huge. There are communities that are 10, 15, 20 years behind other communities in the United States. And the communities that are behind in the digital divide are also drowning in student loan debt, and they're drowning in other debt. And unlike Jamaica, in the US, if you don't pay your property tax, they sell your house. And so persons are not even housing secure, because if they lose their job and can't pay their property tax, they can lose their house. Okay, so there are a lot of social underlying concepts that each country has to address, or you're going to have, it's not just rich, it's digital rich and digitally educated, and the digital intellectual groups of the world is going to gallop and be light years ahead. It's like they left Earth behind and moved to another planet in the solar system. That is how far away the digitally educated people will be. So I agree with you on that platform. And so I would encourage persons in the financial technology space to really, really consider how important basic mathematics is. I don't know how you're going to come together and get to the schools. I don't know, but basic mathematics is what will take this country up the digital scale in terms of creating trust, creating confidence. I think that outreach and it needs to be done in a way that brings adults along, because an adult will be ashamed to reveal that he doesn't know these basic math concepts. And so you can't insult them, or else, they're gone, they're out the room. So that, I think, is the major challenge.
Yeah, I agree that I'll be one of the few adults to say that I really don't understand decimal points for real. This is a long question. Let me come with the mic.
All right, so I think the big challenge is that locally our infrastructure is just not set up for digital, right? You can't even get your PayPal money back into Jamaica now. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. It's been going on for years, over a decade now, where you can't get your PayPal money, right? And so years ago, Ingrid brought a gentleman to talk about Bitcoin, and people questioned it and all the kind of thing. And I said to people, well, it doesn't matter whether or not you can use it, right? It only matters that it can be used in a digital space. So all the digital vendors and all these things, they have their own ecosystem that will work, which is what is happening now with Paco, right? Paco is able to say, all right, I can pay digital using Bitcoin. I think the challenge with Bitcoin, as was mentioned before, is that it fluctuates so rapidly. Is it a true medium of money, right, or exchange? And for us, that is the challenge. No, it fluctuates a lot, but it's still better than a US dollar, right? Because they're literally printing money like crazy, right? And so, as Paco said, you're in a game where your earned money can buy less and less and less, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, when we talk about printing, I think some figure was like within the last few years, they printed 80% of the money supply. So they've 5 times the amount of money in circulation, right? And it's not printing anymore. It's press of a button, right? And so they just say, okay, and Federal Reserve just prints out money and they fund the war, they fund COVID recovery or whatever. So my question to Paco, I think the real solution is, even though Bitcoin fluctuates a lot, it's still the most stable and it's on the blockchain, and it's the one, when I say stable, I mean the one you can most depend on, right? And so I think the challenge is that even though it fluctuates a lot, you can't really use it because you don't know if you're going to be buying at price what you pay for something, and then the money you receive or the money that you paid is now, it's not consistent, and so that's the challenge. But I think people would more use it if they're able to earn it. So that's where I get into my question now. What are the ways that you see that people can earn Bitcoin?
Nice, thank you. Whom did you get, Ingrid, way back to speak about Bitcoin? Like, how long ago was that? How long ago was this?
7 years ago.
There we go. 7 years later, we are still here. 7 years ago, Bitcoin was what? $7,000? Huh?
Gabriel Abed, who is the CEO of Bit in Barbados.
All right, fair enough. There you go. Thanks to Gabriel. 7 years ago, he came here. Bitcoin was $7,000 and it went up to $69,000. And today is $26,000. The fluctuation is because of the market buy and sell. And it's funny enough, there are 21 million Bitcoins. Okay. 20 million in circulation. But out of these 20 million, only 2 million coins are on exchanges. So these 2 million coins, the buying and selling is making the difference of the price. That's it. Most of them are kept away, hoarded, stored away. They don't use it. They don't care about it. And the ecosystem in this 7 years has grown into such a way that there is something called as Lightning Bitcoin that has come. That means I can pay you Bitcoin in a second. That is way faster than 6 weeks of PayPal. And way faster than sending, it's like sending credit, right? From Digicel, you send credit to somebody and it's instant. This is how Africa moves. Africa has something called M-Pesa. So M-Pesa is something that you, even if you have your old Nokia phone, the old phone, you can type *333, boom, the money is gone. Luckily enough, they have started sending Bitcoin using that now. So there's a service called Machakura that sends this. So there are these developments happened over the last 7 years. And now to your question on to earning Bitcoin. A person can open a Bitcoin wallet in less than a minute. But that needs no KYC. That's the biggest problem that Cubans faced. That's what I saw. And this is the biggest problem that we face here is the KYC, that you cannot register on a Binance for that matter. So in that, you have, for example, there's a website called GetAlbi. That means getalbi.com. You can have your URL and anybody around the world can pay you on that. Like right now, everybody is here. You can open a wallet of Satoshi. Like this guy, Kimo opened a wallet. We went for jerk chicken. He opened a wallet in less than a minute and I send him sats. Sats is a small portion. So for people to make income, they can have these wallets. One, the ecosystem has grown in such a way that they can enable a POS systems or they can enable in their own businesses to receive payments from other parts of the world. What has happened is back then, 7 years ago, Bitcoin was on chain. On chain is to take time, 10 minutes to 30 minutes to 1 hour to 2 hours to 4 hours. You're paying a high fee. And now with Lightning, it has evolved in such a way that you can receive your payment in like this. So any services that you're providing or any business you're doing, you can have this as an option of having. Now, as he was talking here, there is an option he's working on creating an exchange for on-ramp and off-ramp. The biggest problem here is, all right, whom do I trust so that I can buy Bitcoin? Whom do I trust that I can sell Bitcoin? There's a Telegram bot that is being used in over 100 countries. It was made by this guy in Venezuela, where people can buy and sell Bitcoin. So I was in Cuba and I could use that bot to buy and sell Bitcoin. I don't need to trust anyone. That's the important factor. The trust is not needed anymore in this aspect of the game. When everything is fixed on that blockchain, which is the longest running blockchain, we don't need to worry about trusting and getting scammed. So a lot of developments have happened. In fact, in such a way, even if the podcasters, the YouTubers, anything those are working digitally, like I made this logo, I paid for it digitally. I made the logo behind, I made for it digitally. So anybody who wants to have this, they have this URL that gives them access to their Bitcoin in seconds, which is practically saying to the banks, thank you, but no thank you. And it gives you a freedom, which is not there. At the end of the day, Rastafari was all about freedom, right? The thing that I learned was it's about freedom. The greatest joy in a life is freedom. And this is what Bitcoin is giving you. Like, I can cross borders with $10,000 in my phone, but I cannot cross with $10,000 in cash. It's a law in Jamaica. I cannot bring more than $5,000. So there are a lot of opportunities that have opened after all with this Bitcoin Lightning that has come into the ecosystem over the last 7 years. And it is still growing, and it is still growing, and it is still growing because it is controlled by the people as of now.
really easy for us to demonize the established financial system because of how it was started and how it's manifested in different countries around the world. You talk about pointing to, say, getalbi.com. Who the hell are those people and who they created it, and why should we trust them? Earlier in your talk, you also spoke about this discouraging us to use the local CBDC because they can track your transactions. You can see certain things on the chain as well when you buy and sell certain coins as well. So there's an openness and there's a transparency around that. So the issue of trust is subjective, would you not say?
Definitely, man. You got to trust your parents. You got to trust your love life. But when it comes to money, there's a different angle involved altogether. It's money. It just like, it's like if he's my friend, I've given him $1,000. He's paid it back to me. We are friends. But he's not paid me back my $1,000. Now, next time I'm like, hey, there you go. So on the money aspect, I speak about that trust. On the second aspect, when I speak about the getalbi.com, it lets you receive that Bitcoin, but it gives you that option to withdraw it in your self-custody that is on-chain, have your own wallet. It gives you that. I'm giving you an example of this too. And what is the third point? The CBDC. Yeah. All right. Now this is something I sit with a lot of crazy people. Bitcoiners are crazy. Please don't be a Bitcoiner. Okay. My advice is do not go down the rabbit hole. It's a crazy zone. A rabbit has holes and holes and holes and holes, and you just keep getting lost. In the coming future, it's all going to be about carbon emissions. It's like how much carbon you're throwing into the world. If you're driving a car, that means you're consuming petrol. That petrol is giving carbon. Your government will know how much petrol you have put in the car. After a while, they will say, hey, you have put in a lot of petrol this month. You can't use it. It's happening in China. If you buy a can of beer, case of beer, they reduce your social credit. So this is the control that will happen. This is why parents used to give us pocket money. We used to put it to the side, go on the other side. They used to not know life is beautiful. That's why dollars can do a lot of things which a CBDC can't. And this is what I'm seeing. They will start tracking your little expenses, and which is not beneficial in the long run, because you're paying them the taxes, you're paying them the GST, you're going to the restaurant paying more taxes. You're just paying and paying and paying without them being accountable for. And now they also have your money. So basically, you're going to put me in a machine, put the glasses, put the earpods, and I'll be just living digitally. I cannot be able to afford to eat food outside anymore. Because everything you control, I am practically your slave. What do you do next? This is what I see in the long-term future, how they will control. You want to do it, do it. I said, don't trust me. I repeat on this. Don't trust me. Do it. We learn how to walk by falling down. We learned how to ride a cycle by falling down. Go for it. And this world has 180, 200 countries. And I said that in the interview, it's no more about 200 countries anymore. It is about 250,000 communities around the world. It's more about that community. If my community is okay, if like the way you talked about it, like, yes, my community understands maths. Now this is my community. My community understands farming. My community understands technology. That's it. It's going to be community-wise. It's no more about the borders anymore. We were all free people. That's why we used to move. And suddenly you come out and put borders. Then after borders, you put out visas. And after visas, you make it such a way that I cannot go to the other country because of my color. This is how the land of free was found, because we were all free to move. There was freedom. We was hunters and scavengers. And now here we are fighting for a bread. I have seen a family eating just bread and drinking Coca-Cola. Your fast food is cheaper than you buying a regular food. We cannot even afford food now. What are we living for? And so this is what I have, like Bitcoin. Everybody sees Bitcoin as trading. Oh, I'm going to be rich. Oh, there is 25,000 coins. I'm going to buy the Maybach. Oh my God, I'm going to have the best holidays. You're just thinking about the next thing. You're not thinking 20 years like, yeah, they are getting rich because it's their own coin. Who controls that coin? how many coins they can print, how much can they control you. Like, it's all about the control aspect. If you don't want that, like, I wouldn't talk all of this in Cuba because Cuba is not about liberty. So I never talked about liberty, but they call themselves Republic of Cuba. But is it really the public? Yeah, sorry, I answered on that. Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, I just want to go ahead. I wanted to detour the kind of his conversation a little bit, but after you say your point.
One of the things I would advocate, in addition to really getting back to some basic mathematics, is also giving a roadmap, because the question about how to earn Bitcoin and how to live a digital life within the context of each culture, because you said, Cuba, you're not talking about freedom, right? Okay. So in the context of, because for a Jamaican farmer versus the university lecturer, that's almost like two different countries. So I think that is the next level where you would find a greater digital adoption if the different communities, and we acknowledge that, so we just pick on our country, there isn't, people talk about there's 2 Jamaica. I think there's like 100 Jamaicas, right? And so the 100 Jamaicas that exist, how do they live a digital life? So again, within the special needs communities, for example, how do you, so for example, the cost of therapy for a child with special needs. So if we use the American Medical Association benchmarks, you need an additional 40 hours of therapy in addition to sending them to school in order for a child with disabilities to have a chance to integrate into society. A working parent cannot do additional 40 hours of their time. And on average, you're looking at about 8,000 Jamaican dollars for 30 minutes of therapy. So now if you take that, so that's $16,000 an hour times 14 a month. Now, working parents can't afford that. So what would that look like digitally? How could the digital space solve that? And how could we disseminate that to parents in Kingston, parents in Trelawney, parents in Portland, whatever? So I'm saying when you look at each Jamaica that's out there, the needs are different. And so I also think a lot of the trust issues we have is that a lot of what we're talking about in terms of technology is just irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant to my life. What does Bitcoin do for me with a child in a wheelchair? What does that do? It could, it's just, I don't know what it does for me. I don't know. And nobody, with all the advanced technology, nobody's explaining it to me. So when I have to take 3 taxis in St. Mary to get my child in a wheelchair to the nearest special needs school, and maybe all I needed was a laptop and internet access to give my child all the training, whatever it is, but who's explaining that to me? Nobody's explaining how digital, and maybe Bitcoin could be a way for me to earn income in the middle of St. Mary so that I don't need to work and I could stay home and help my child in a wheelchair, but nobody's explaining that to me in a real way. So what we have is these silos of Jamaicans who do not see the relevance. And because maybe I'm the only person in here with a child with special needs, okay, well, then you and I, the majority of persons, it wouldn't even cross their mind that there are people who need to take 3 taxis to get to the one special needs school in their in the parish, and then they have to go to work. It wouldn't even cross their mind. So I'm just saying, and let's pick on farmers. How would a farmer use Bitcoin in Jamaica? How would the digital world help the farmer? Nobody's talking about that. So there's just so many. So I wanted to put that on the table. I really think relevance is the issue, and trust.
All right. So you guys can hear me, right? Okay. So one of the issues I realized that with all issues there is the lack of
financial education. Persons don't know how to manage money. And so we bring up all of these new ways of using money, but if we don't know how to manage the money, we can't use it. So if in the future, the best option is to try to find ways to improve the financial education of the younger generation as well as the person who are managing it now. And then we can be able to move forward from there. Other than that, I think that issue that we find won't be fixed.
So here's where I see things, right? So it's not just the economics of it all, where you would say people are just seeing what their immediate needs are, right? That creates an incredible amount of short-sightedness, right? So whether and it happens from the lowest level to the highest. You see people say, well, boy, I need this, so I don't care about the environment, like what happens in Haiti, all that, right? I know I have needs, so I'm gonna chop down whatever tree. And so you look at a satellite map of Haiti and Dominica, right? And you can see just barrenness on one side and greenery on the other. And they say it's because of economic need. People are just being short-sighted and the thing. No. How do you change that? Well, that's an economic thing, right? Because you have needs in terms of the cost that it takes to handle special needs and all kinds of things. And so you're not seeing it that way. But Paco is right. They're printing money. So, I mean, years ago, I said to a friend of mine, look here, 7% not going to cut it, 15% not going to cut it, right? Anything to do with a financial institution and you putting up your money or trying to get a return on an instrument or anything like that is not going to cut it. 80% of the money supply has been printed in the last 4 years, right? It's 5 times more. So you're going to sit down here thinking, well, my money is going to work with. If you just do simple, what I call, the inflation basket, right? It makes no sense, right? You come up with an inflation basket and it says 9% inflation, and you and I both know it's not 9% we're paying, right? I don't know how they work out that basket, but that basket is not a true reflection of what happens in everyday people's life, right? But if you go with something like KFC or Burger King, I can tell you that it's been a 25% increase in prices one shot, right? 25% increase just through COVID. So I don't know what it's going to continue to be like moving forward, but I just know in one leap, it was a 25% increase in most prices. So these are the realities that we're facing. So even though you have your short-term needs, and it's hard to look past it, if you're not preparing yourself for a world where you're facing 25, 30, 40% inflation per annum, I think that is where we have to drive from that point to people. Mm-hmm.
What you are correct, and we are in most financial analysts will tell you we are in for structural inflation.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is that increase will be part of our life. I mean, Water Commission effectively hit us with 150% increase from January to May.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, I have a leak in my house. I have this, I have that. When no, you don't have a leak. That is the reality. Check your bill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's called structural inflation, which means just accept that is what it is. And then also there's also another concept called where it's profit driven inflation, which is that it's not because there's a supply chain issue or things are short. It's that I can charge more and I will. So we have that reality. So I'm not disputing you. It's just that the silos that we have in Jamaica mean that I am comfortable talking about inflation or whatever, and somebody else will be sweating and having heart palpitations because they just don't understand. So what we have is a communication challenge And we keep saying digital currency is the way forward. We're going to create Jamaica into a digital economy. We're going to digital. And what does that mean? Okay, I'm drifting a little to make my point. Digicel Foundation did a survey probably like 8 or 9 years ago, where they found that 1 in 4 employees in NCB and Digicel had special needs children, and they just don't tell people about it. Okay, so they just keep it private. They don't walk up and down. It's a very shameful thing in our country to admit that your child has issues. And that implication means that when you put your child with special needs on your house title, because you think you're protecting your child, when the child you die, all an unscrupulous relative does is tell the child, make an X here and transfer the property. And so the Administrator General's department talks about fraud and how people, what they work for in their life, their children lose it because they have disabilities. They don't know how to protect themselves. So my point, I'm drifting to come back to the point, is that because we're not communicating to the different communities that exist, all of it has to be short-term living. I have to think for now, because nobody's educating me on how to think for the future. Because you're talking to me about Bitcoin and I need $10,000. What is Bitcoin? I need 10,000 today. My light will be locked off today. What is Bitcoin? That's no use to me. That's good. Good for him. Travel around the world. Wonderful. Congratulations. Go on. I need $10,000. So that is, so as I keep saying to the powers that be, we need basic mathematics training at the adult level. We always talk about we're going to educate the young people. When the 40-year-olds and the 50-year-olds are drowning, they are drowning. So we need to have mathematics training. We need to have, within the Jamaican culture specific, agriculture, special needs, single parents, people in the church, just name all the different communities we have. We need that specific training in order to lift us to be where Paco is.
Bitcoin fixes everything you're saying. Yeah, the thing, Bitcoin fixes everything you say, because all of the problems you're having is because of money. If money was enough in your life, you would be so happy and so grateful that you would be counting your stars. Yet you're here on this panel table today because your stars are really strong enough to spare this time to share your journey with us and for us to understand what a single parent's problems are. But these problems all revolve around something called as money. Fix the money, fix the world. So if money can be fixed, you can fix a lot of your issues in your life, because money was never a problem while you were growing up with 6 other brothers and sisters. Because it was, every human's needs are unlimited. Our parent is the one who was fulfilling it from their given salary. And they fulfilled most of our needs, and that's why we are here and not behind the bars. They did a pretty good job, because the money was nice, the money was strong. And now here we are talking about rituals and love and life and problems and fixing the world and fixing everything, because what we need is peace. This is what Bob Marley was singing. Yeah, but not everybody invests money. 99% of this Jamaica doesn't invest money. 1% invests. And out of the 99% of Jamaica that doesn't invest is saving money. If you keep 10 million Jamaican dollars below your pillow and sleep for 1 year and you wake up the next year, that 10 million isn't 10 million. But if you're just agreeing to all of these things, then what is the solution? Church.
Okay, let me give you the solution. The solution is, at the end of the panel discussion, you, Mr. Paco, with the information, create a list and answer the gentleman in the red shirt's question of how does the average person earn Bitcoin? How do we get access to all of the websites that you mentioned? And then UCC runs, in partnership with the government, runs a series of island-wide campaigns. Pick 10 communities, the church, special needs, athletes, you name it, 10 communities in Jamaica, invite them in around the island, give them Paco's information list that he leaves with us in Jamaica and educates them. Then UCC joins with the Ministry of Education and brings in some math teachers and have math teachers for the adults and math teachers for the young people. And boom, we all have money, as Paco said, because otherwise, just to say money solves all problems, you just make people feel bad. So, yeah.
So I think, so just to let our audience know, so Hack Central Money is a sponsor for this event, and they are going to have Paco's list in the description. So I'm sure Paco is going to give it to me later on. So it's going to be published on the YouTube channel, Hack Central Money. So you can look for this video if you've missed some of it. And those links are going to be in the description, along with other links for local connections, because this is what we're here about today, how to earn money from cryptocurrency. And I have not heard from, so I just want to wrap up this talk. I want to hear from the gentlemen, because you both are in the space in Jamaica. I mean, you use cryptocurrency to do business. How can a normal person like me, a freelancer or something, get involved and have access to some digital assets like what you guys have, and how did you do it?
Thanks again. I'm gonna answer that question by just highlight that Dennise has mentioned, right? And you're spot on when you mention that we are individualistic in how we approach business. And so let me start on that first. What Harmony has realized is that we are so self-centered, we do business here, that everybody's all about me. What I can hold on to, this is mine. And and hence the name Harmony, because we realize that if you don't understand that you have to create that collaborative effort in terms of bringing this new thing, then you're not gonna get the type of results that you need, right? So that's one thing I was saying that you're spot on. Then it's about, we have gone out into the communities that we serve, and we have sit with them and try to understand their pain points, because that's ultimately where it starts. You can't stay at the top and decide that you're gonna just create technology. The technology by itself is useless, as we mentioned before, if you don't build that use case for them. So we sit with them, we understand the pain points, and most of them, like you said, they won't come forward and let you know that they don't understand what you're talking about, right? So we've created this type of ecosystem in terms of, one, we're not going to just talk to them about technology. We created that surrounding support to talk to them about the finances, because you're giving them the tools to build their business, but how do they build on that? You have to educate them on it. So, and that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of hand-holding, and not everybody's doing it, and that's why you're not seeing it. You understand? Because it's not an easy task to do that type of hand-holding, but we are committed to doing it, and that's how we believe that we're going to bring that change that we talk about.
So I believe that one of the ways, the average everyday Jamaican could go about beginning to receive any kind of cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, would be through freelancing platforms. So I know that there are a few that Jamaicans can use, like Fiverr or Freelancer or Upwork, I believe. And you can offer a service. So whether you have a talent for graphic design, website building, video editing, or what have you, you're able to get business from people all over the world as a freelancer, and you're able to opt for payment in cryptocurrency, so that you are working and earning digitally, and you would have a greater freedom with your money. One of the additional points I would like to bring up that isn't really talked about as much when it comes to people getting into cryptocurrency is how important self-custody is. It is not like a bank where you're going to a centralized institution and you're going there to give them your money, and then it's almost like an IOU. All right, I have your money. I'm holding on to your money for you. With cryptocurrency, I do preach that people have your own custodial wallet. And what I would mean is whether it's a hot wallet or cold wallet. Hot or cold meaning hot is that it's online, and cold meaning it's almost like a USB storage device you have in person. That is the true meaning of you fully owning your cryptocurrency. So there's a saying in the space that it's not your keys, not your cryptographic keys that you own, it's not your crypto. So even if you were to purchase or receive cryptocurrency through an exchange, it's very similar to owning money in the bank. It's really like an IOU at this point, and you only really technically have it if you are to withdraw it from the bank. That's the only time you can say this money is mine because it's in my hand. At any other point in time, the bank would be able to just say, if there's a run on the bank, then that's just the end of that.
Talk to us about Jamdex, because we're hearing that Jamdex accepts cryptocurrency you're using, you're exchanging it on that. Is that true?
I'm not familiar with
Not
that.
familiar. Okay, but incidentally, the Innovation Center is running a competition for students who can build Jamdex Bitcoin exchange. You can build a Jamdex Bitcoin exchange. So for those who don't know what Jamdex is, can you just explain to them what this is? And this is for Jamaicans, by the way.
Yeah. So Jamdex is the wallet used for housing or holding your Jamaican central bank digital currency. You are able to sign up for your Jamdex wallet through the link application, and once you sign up for one, you sign up for both, and you don't need very high levels of identification to sign up, because one of the um core principles of pushing this new technology is to increase the financial inclusivity so that there would be little to nobody who's underserved with this kind of new technology. So I believe that the basic level of identification that you need to sign up for the platform would be your voter's ID or your national ID. And additionally, you can use your driver's license as well as their passport.
So this is connected with links, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right now it's accessible through the link.
Right, great. So for persons who are interested in the competition, if you can build a Jamdex Bitcoin exchange, the prize is 10,000 Jamaican dollars in Bitcoin credits. Okay, so if you want to hear more about that, you can visit the website ucc.edu.jm, and the deadline is July 3rd. So tech people, get on it and see if you can win 10,000 Bitcoins. All right, so Jamaican dollars in Bitcoins. I guess it's equivalent in cover some decimal points that we don't understand. Okay, so we have to wrap up, because unfortunately, as much as we'd love to continue this conversation and we're going down this rabbit hole very deeply, we have to wrap up because we're out of time. But anything that you'd want to leave with the audience this morning, anything, pointers you want to just leave them with to just go home and digest, or to think about how we can actually use or even open up questions about how cryptocurrency can assist in the Jamaica ecosystem.
I would say as a start, I'll draw back on my first interaction with cryptocurrency myself. It's very, very daunting, and it looks like a lot when you're just jumping into the space. But what I would advise anybody who wants to learn and wants to get started is to have a fundamental understanding of money first. And once you do have an understanding of money and how money works and how money was made to come back and bite you, I would say that's when you really start to have an appreciation and a motivation for wanting to get into the crypto space, because it is, in my opinion, one of the solutions for hedging against how negative money can be.
If you want, you can start your own coin. Go back home, go to ChatGPT, tell them I want to start my own blockchain. Start your own coin. What's your name? Okay. Kir. You can have Kir coin. What's your name? Aisha coin. Mola? Mala? Marla coin? Chemo coin? It's very easy. Start your own money. Find your community. And your community will use your money. And when you have enough money, you can run away. Okay. And if you don't want to do all of that, just study Bitcoin. Like save, it's a hedge against inflation, but do your own research. Everything we talked here, don't trust me. Whatever I said, I will end up saying that. Don't trust me. Do your study. Yeah. Because this is what I believe in, but I'm a crazy Indian guy. You know, Indians just love money. So I love money way too much. That's why I say fix the money, fix the world. Right? Thank you.
Yeah, I believe that the digital divide is because of trust and basic mathematics. And I think that's what nationally we need to go after. Yeah.
I think we need to invest more into educating, bring more awareness to the people that we want to use this form of digital space. All right. And right, pretty much get them aware. You invest in them.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your input, and thank you, audience, for being with us. It was a great session. We learned a lot, and we have questions, and I know that we can't answer the questions in this session, but at least we can go out and search for answers to these questions to see how we can be innovative to, help ourselves and our families, because our children, look at the world that their children are going to live in. It's going to be a more dismal world than the one that we're seeing here financially. So we want to ensure that we know and can educate our children likewise into all of this. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming, and we wish you all a good day.